Right. Salvete, omnes. Living Latin Live Wednesday, April 10th. All right, here we go. We're on episode 8. So we're going to move a little further along here and watch George try to find his Coca-Cola in his epic quest. So just to kind of reiterate or just review a couple of things, here we are. We got est. There's two versions of est. There, you might say something is, there is est, and then of course he, she, or it is, like espuela, espuer. So we learned this phrase here, ad eat. So somebody's going ad, like ad Chicago eat or something like that. Then we got habet, which is very, we're going to be using that quite a bit. So we're kind of be reviewing a little bit tonight. Habet, she or he has something or possesses it. I think we had a gesture like this. And then, or maybe Wolt. Maybe Wolt was this. I can't remember what our gesture is for Wolt. I have to go back and watch the old videos, but Wolt, when you want something, you can have Wolt. And then we kind of looked at this one, this construction, a dikit, when you say something to someone, and we'll kind of pick up from there. So let's see. Oops, there we go. There he is. There he is. Omnes.
Ita.
Ita.
Es puer. Puer es George.
Oh.
Oh, Ita. George is puer. Said George. Well, George está en California. Oh, está en California. Said, es problema. George, habet problemam. Es problema. Quid es problema? Habet George problemam habet. Ita. George problemam habet. Quid
George.
es problemam?
Magnum problemam habet.
Ita es magnam problemam.
Magnum.
Es magnam problemam. Magnam problema, mea culpa. George Coca-Cola non habet. Oh no. Omnes. George Coca-Cola non habet. Es problema maxima.
Maxima.
Ita. George problema non habet. Ergo, George Coca-Cola wolt. George Coca-Cola wolt. Ita. Omnes.
Ita.
Wolt ne George Pepsi?
Minime.
Minime. George non wolt Pepsi. Wolt ne George Aqua? Water.
No. George.
Minime.
Minime.
George non wolt Aqua. George non wolt Pepsi. Wolt ne George Coca-Cola?
Ita.
Ita. George wolt Coca-Cola. Habet ne George Coca-Cola?
Minime.
Minime.
Minime. George non habet Coca-Cola. George wolt Coca-Cola. Et George non es laetus. Esne George laetus omnes?
Minime.
Minime.
Minime. Esne George tristis?
Ita.
Ita.
Ita tristis. Non tristis, tristis. George es tristis. Alice and George.
Ita.
Tu es George. Cur tu es tristis. Cur tu es tristis.
Ego volt Coca-Cola. What was but? Kia said Coca-Cola non habeo.
Optime. Tu es trist. Ita maxima problema est ita. Tu es tristis. Tu non es laetus. Quia tu non habes Coca-Cola. Es maxima problema ita. Let's see. Cur, you respond with whoops. Quia, just in case we forgot. Quia, right? So a nice little, I guess you could say rejoinder, but scur quia. So, Una George.
Ita.
Ubi tu es. Ubi tu es.
Es in California.
Ita, tu es in California. Esne Coca-Cola in California.
Minime.
Minime. Non es Coca-Cola in California. Esne Laitus.
Minime.
Cur tu non es...
Ecotristis.
Ah, cur tu es tristis.
Quia Coca-Cola non habet.
Ah, tu es tristis, quia tu non habes Coca-Cola. Et esne Coca-Cola in California?
Minime.
Minime. Non es Coca-Cola in California,
Oh,
ergo tu
ita.
es tristis. No, minime. Non es Coca-Cola in California. I mean, I guess you could say ita, right? Yes, there isn't any, or no, there isn't any, but we know non es Coca-Cola in California, ita. Et tu es tristis, quia non es Coca-Cola in California. Optime. Ah, yamus. Let's see. Yamus means let's go. Omnes.
Ita.
Ita.
George ad Chicago eat. Oh, ho, ho. Non est Coca-Cola in California, ergo George ad Chicago eat. Omnes
Ita.
Ita.
quo George eat. Quo George eat.
Chicago
Quo
it.
ita George eat ad Chicago ita. Cur George eat ad Chicago. Cur.
Coca-Cola what?
Ita George Coca-Cola Walt, ergo George eat ad Chicago. Optime. Let's see. Esne Coca-Cola in Chicago. Let's find out. Omnes.
Ita.
Ita.
Espuela in Chicago.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh.
Espuela in Chicago. Omnes. Esne Coca-Cola in Chicago?
Ita.
Ita.
Fortasse, right? We don't know.
Fortas.
We don't know yes, we don't know no, but we could say fortasse, which means
Fortasse.
maybe is probably better. Perhaps sounds a little stuffy. No one says perhaps, they say maybe. So fortasse, right? Es Coca-Cola in Chicago? Fortasse, fortasse. Espuela in Chicago, ita.
Ita.
Omnes, quidus nomen puellae in Chicago? Quidus nomen? What am I
Beyonce.
asking?
Beyonce.
Beyonce, ita. Es Beyonce, ita. Glad you guys remembered. Beyonce. Beyonce est puella quae in Chicago est. Bene. Let's see. Esne Coca-Cola in Chicago fortasse, sed where a dicit abesne Coca-Cola? Omnes.
Ita.
Quid significat Anglice a? Quid significat a?
To her.
Ita. Quid significat dicit?
Dikit.
Said.
Says, right? To say, says. So what's a good gesture we can use for dicit to help us remember dicit? That's right. I think we did that Pac-Man thing, right? Dicit.
Oh yeah.
So omnes puer a dicit. Puer a
Did you
dicit.
guys see the solar eclipse?
Oh yeah. Could miss it. All my students were running out of their classroom during 9th period to see it. Partially in Florida, we didn't get the whole thing. We only saw partial. You got the whole thing though, didn't you?
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
saw
right. I forgot
totality.
you guys are not in Dallas. Yeah, we got the whole solar eclipse. It was
Wow.
awesome.
But did you get it, Allison? Same thing, whole
I
thing?
had to drive a little to get it, but we got it. 90 seconds of totality.
Wow, that's cool. We got
It went
like
total darkness. It was so surprising.
and how long did it stay that way?
2 minutes.
That's a long time.
This wind comes up and the temperature drops 10 degrees. Just and
That fast.
all that fast, and everyone who was in their shirt sleeves put on their fleeces and then their coats. That's how
That
cold it
fast.
got quickly.
Wow. That's crazy. That's quick.
It
How
was
do you
really
say-
beautiful though, when
how do you
right
say
when the
eclipse?
sun covered right when the moon covered the sun, that was like so beautiful because the sun rays, you could see the corona around it.
Right. That's pretty cool.
How do you say
Pretty
eclipse
cool.
in Latin?
Neschio. Eclipse is a Greek word, though. I have
Oh,
to look that one up. Eclipse. I don't know how you say that. Let's see. Eclipse. See if I can figure that out. I'm sure it's probably gonna be something obvious once I look it up. Let's see here. Eclipse. I don't know. I can't find it. I'll have to find that later. Right now the meter's running. Let's see. Eclipse. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything I like. There's a defectio. Nah. Oh well. I'll figure it out later. All right. Puer omnes.
Ita.
Cui. Let me get my little annotation thing. Cui. Puer dicit. Cui.
Puella.
Puella ita puellai. Or you could say Beyonce. That's her name. So we got a couple options here. You can say puellai. You could say Beyonce. Right. You can even say a if you're talking about her, right? All right. So puellai dicit, puer Beyonce dicit, puer a dicit. Bene? Uh omnes.
Ita.
Um quis a dicit, quis a dicit.
Beyonce.
Non Beyonce, quis a dicit, quis.
George.
Oh, George.
Ita, George, puer. George a dicit, puer a dicit, bene. Et George a dicit, abesne Coca-Cola. Fortasse, ita, fortasse. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't.
We'll find out.
All right. Puella in Chicago, a dicit, omnes. Puella a dicit. Oh, oh.
Aww.
Coca-Cola non abeo. Oh, male, male. Poor George. George in California erat, sed nunc in Chicago est, et Coca-Cola non habet. Oh, male. Male, male, male. Male means bad, like terrible. Omnes.
Ita.
Ita.
Esne Coca-Cola in Chicago?
Ita.
Ita.
Minime. Non est. Chicago non habet Coca-Cola. Non
No,
est
Chicago,
Coca-Cola.
a bit Pepsi.
Fortasse. Pepsi, ita. Chicago, Pepsi, tantum. Coca-Cola, minime. Ita. Pepsi, tantum. Tantum, by the way. Does anyone know
Is
what
many.
tantum might mean? Tantum. Tantum is going to be only here.
Really? I thought that was modo.
Ita.
Modo.
Modo is like in a way, right? Tantum, Chicago Pepsi, tantum habet, right? Only has, right? So omnes esne Coca-Cola in Chicago?
Minime.
Minime.
Esne Pepsi in Chicago?
Fortasse.
Minime, est. We're gonna make that the story. Pepsi est in Chicago. Beyonce
Oh, then yes. Ita.
Gerit Camisia Pepsi, right? She's wearing a Pepsi shirt. Ergo, Chicago habet Pepsi, said non habet Coca-Cola. Et
Mhm.
George, esne George Lightus?
Minime.
Minime. Es
Ita, George
tristes.
es tristis, non es laetus, ita. George non es laetus, quia non habet Coca-Cola. Ah, male. George non es laetus, ita. George non es laetus. Cur George non es laetus. Alice and George. Tu es George. Cur tu non es laetus.
Ego vol
Volo,
Coca-Cola.
ita.
Vol Coca-Cola non habeo. Ego ad eat. Do I still say eat? Ad Chicago eat.
Ita.
And ad Chicago Coca-Cola non habet. Puella, how do you say beautiful? Puella,
Pulcra.
pulcra. Puella pulcra
Pulcra.
Coca-Cola non habet. Puella pulcra habet Pepsi. Oh,
Ita. Oops, should learn to spell beautiful. Beautiful. Optime. Optime. Ah, intellego. Tu es George, et George, tu eras in California, et non est Coca-Cola in California. Deinde, then, tu is ad Chicago, et tu dicis Beyonce, abesne Coca-Cola? Beyonce TB responde dicis, dici TB, TB,
chiquitini.
dici TB, right, ita, non habeo Coca-Cola, tantum habeo Pepsi, et tu est, non es laetus, tu est tristis, ita, yes, tristis, bene, ita,
Maxi Christis.
ita. Una, George.
Ita.
Well, we're kind of going out over here, but Una, George, ubi tu es?
In Chicago Est.
Ita tu est, mire, tu es in Chicago, tu eras in California, et Una, George, cur tu es in Chicago? Cur tu es in Chicago?
Quia Coca-Cola what?
Ah, ita tu vis Coca-Cola, et tu es in Chicago, et cui dicis.
Um, Puella Puella ticket.
Ita tu dicis
Puella nomen
puellae.
est Beyonce.
Ita tu dicis puellae, quae nomen est Beyonce, et est pulcra puella, ita?
Ita.
Bene. Sed esne, Una, George, esne laetus?
Minime.
Ah, tu non es laetus. Cur tu non es laetus?
Quia Coca-Cola non est in Chicago.
Ita non es Coca-Cola in Chicago, sed visne Coca-Cola?
Ita.
Ita, tu vis Coca-Cola. Et non est Coca-Cola in Chicago, sed visne Pepsi?
Minime.
Minime tu non vis Pepsi. Tu vis Coca-Cola, ergo tu non es laetus, quia non est Coca-Cola in Chicago, et tu non habes Coca-Cola. Bene? Optime. Let's see. I think we got one more slide, and then I think and we'll kind of dive in a little bit more. I think, yeah. Omnes.
Ita.
George Coca-Cola non habet, et Coca-Cola vult.
Oh,
Oh, et George est tristis quia non habet Coca-Cola, sed vult Coca-Cola, non vult Pepsi. Bene? All right. Let's see. Where are we at with understanding the story so far? 5, 4, 3. Pretty easy. All right. 4. Okay, good. So let's take a quick, I'll do a describe situation. We'll kind of go through the whole thing of George, this whole story. So we got this narrative really strong. So omnes ego sum George, ego sum nunc. Now you can kind of abbreviate it and talk about it from this moment. Does anyone remember what nunc means?
Never.
Never.
No, nunc is now. Nunquam would be never. Nunc, and then we have tunc, which is then. All right. So nunc, George, ego sum George, nunc in Chicago. Et volo Coca-Cola. Ego est puella in Chicago. Puella est Beyonce. Ego dico a. Ego dico abesne Coca-Cola. Et puella Beyonce mihi dicit minime non abeo Coca-Cola, abeo Pepsi. Ego sum tristis, quia Coca-Cola non habet, sed Coca-Cola vult. Bene?
Bene.
All right, how we with that? How's that sound? 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, good. Let's give you a shot at doing this. You know the drill. I'm gonna just silence yourselves, take a minute and practice. You are George. Try to walk yourself through. I mean, you can say you're in Chicago at this point and kind of carry the story forward, but practice that for a good minute. All right. All right. Check in with you guys in 1 minute. All right, omnes. Let's bring it back. See how we're doing. All right. Let's see. Una George, go ahead and describe the situation. You are in Chicago. What do you see? Who's there? What are you looking for?
Est in Chicago, quia Coca-Cola vult. Puella Solway. I meet. Puella dicit. Puella nomen. Qui nomen est Beyonce. Quia. Wait. Et a dicit mihi Coca-Cola non habet in Chicago. Nunc ego est tristis, quia Coca-Cola non habet.
All right, let's see if I can get all that. Optime. 2S George, 2S in Chicago. Tu es in Chicago quia tu vis Coca-Cola. Es puella in Chicago. Puella est pulcra puella est Beyonce. Et tu dicis abesne Coca-Cola. Beyonce tibi dicis minime non abeo Coca-Cola, abeo Pepsi tantum. Tu es tristis quia tu non habes Coca-Cola, et tu es in Chicago. Nunc. Bene? Did I get everything? All right. Optime. You said a lot. That was awesome. Yeah, Ita. Felicidades. Or celebration, right? Ita. All right, Allison, you are George. Describe. You know what? No. Let's change it up. You are Beyonce. Tu es
Oh,
Beyonce. And you describe the situation. Who's coming around and asking stuff, that kind of thing.
mm, ego est in Chicago or just ego est Chicago?
Ego sum in Chicago, Ita.
Ego sum in Chicago. Uh, give me a minute, I'm slow today.
That's all right.
Puello Maximo dicit mihi puella Coca-Cola habet tihi Coca-Cola habes and ego di how do you say I say
Dico.
ego dico minime ego non Coca-Cola habet eo Pepsi habet
Ita.
a puello volt Pepsi.
Ita. Optime. Tu es Beyonce. Tu es pulcra puella quae in Chicago est. Ita. Pulcra puella. Et ad Chicago est, minime, in Chicago est, quoque, et puer tibi dicis habesne Coca-Cola, sed tu puero dicis minime non habeo Coca-Cola, habeo Pepsi,
Pepsi.
Pepsi, ita, et puer non es laetus, quia tu non habes Coca-Cola. Tu habes
Aw,
Pepsi. Ita.
is-
Tristis puer. Sed
yeah,
tu es Beyonce. Vale.
vale.
Bene. Ita. Ultime. Ultime. Bene. All right. How are you guys at understanding it now after that? Hopefully everyone's at a 5. All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. I mean, the good thing about these last couple slides is it kind of reviews some of the stuff we've already did earlier. So it gives you that reinforcement. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you guys pretty much have it. The story, everything's in place. So let's play around with something else. Omnes
Ita.
habeo negalatum in Italia.
Ooh, Ita.
In Italia.
In
Ita.
Italia. And Dairy Queen in Italia. Habeo negalatum.
Ooh,
Mm,
Ita.
minime gelatum.
There's ice
Minime.
cream in Italy.
Ita, but in my story, ego
Dairy Queen.
ad Italia quia gelatum volo, sed in Dairy Queen in Italia non es gelatum. Oh, male. Non es gelatum.
Non es-
Ego eram in Florida, deinde it ad Italia in Dairy Queen, et ego dico Taylor Swift, habesne gelatum in Dairy Queen? Taylor Swift dicit minime, non habeo gelatum. Habeo hamburgers, sed non habeo gelatum. Ah, male. Habeo, omnes,
Ita.
Ita.
Habeo ne problema?
Ita.
Ita, problema mabeo, problema maxima mabeo. Habeo ne problemam angelatum.
Ita.
Habeo ne problemam angelatum.
An.
Gelatin?
An.
On is or. So gelatin.
Ita.
No, abbiamo un problema. Non
Ita, habeo problemam, non habeo gelatum. Sum tristis, quia non habeo gelatum. Omnes, quis gelatum vult?
Magistra.
Ita, ego, magister gelatum vult. Quid ego volo? Quid ego volo?
Gelatin.
Ita, ego volo gelatum. Quis Coca-Cola vult?
George.
George.
Ita, quis Pepsi habet?
Beyonce.
Yes.
Beyonce Pepsi habet. Et quis hamburger habet?
Taylor
Me.
Swift.
Ita, Taylor Swift. Habet Taylor Swift gelatum?
Minime.
Minime. Taylor Swift non habet gelatum. Sed habet hamburger in Dairy Queen in Italia. Cur? Nescio. Nescio. Nescimus. We don't know. Omnes. Allison. Tu es George.
Ita.
Minime. Ita. Tu es George. Habeo ne gelatum?
Minime. Non habeo gelatum.
Ita, ego non habeo gelatum. Tu
Ego.
non habes gelatum, ego non habeo gelatum. Recte non habeo gelatum. Allison George, ubi ego sum. Ubi ego sum.
Magister s- ad Italia it.
Ita, ubi
Est in
ego
Italia.
sum. Ita,
In,
ego
in Dairy Queen.
Ita, ego sum in Italia in Dairy Queen. Ah, ottime. Ego sum in Dairy Queen in Italia. Et una, George.
Ita.
Quid ego volo in Dairy Queen in Italia? Quid ego volo?
Coca-Cola.
Ego volo Coca-Cola?
Oh no. Gelatin.
Gelatum.
Ita! Ego volo gelatum. Quis Coca-Cola volt?
George.
Ita, tu es George.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ego.
Ita, tu es George. Tu vis Coca-Cola. Ego volo gelatum. Sed ubi una George. Ubi ego sum. Ubi ego sum. Ubi
Chicago
ego sum.
Est. Oh
Ego?
no,
Non
Ego.
ego.
Chicago Est.
Tu es in Chicago. Ita said ubi ego. Magister, ubi ego sum.
In Italia.
Ita, ego sum in Italia. Ubi in Italia.
In Roma, in Venezia, in
In
Florencia,
Roma.
in Roma,
In Roma. Minime, in Dairy Queen.
in Dairy
Oh,
Queen
Ubi
est
est
in
Dairy Queen?
Roma.
Dairy Queen
Roma.
est Ita, Dairy Queen est in Roma, quae est in Italia, ergo ego sum in Italia, in Roma, in Dairy Queen. Bene?
Bene.
Said una George, cui dico in Dairy Queen.
quia gelatum volt.
Minime non cur said
Oh, cui. Let me look at the board.
Cui ego dico in Dairy Queen.
Who do you want at Dairy Queen?
Who quid significa dico, ego dico.
Who says what at Dairy Queen?
Ego dico.
You
So
say
who am I talking to?
Taylor Swift.
Cui. Ah,
And
optime. Ego dico Taylor Swift. Ita. Et ego sum in Italia, in Roma, in Dairy Queen, et ego volo gelatum, et dico Taylor
Taylor
Swift.
Swift.
Ita, optime.
Taylor
Bene.
Swift World's hamburger.
Ita, non vot habet. Taylor Swift habet hamburger, sed non habet gelatum.
Oh, how bad.
Ridiculum est, ita, in Dairy Queen. Ita, es ridiculum. Bene. Optime. Let's see. All right, let's try this. How are we understanding all these two stories now? Show me hands here. 5, 4, 3. All right, good. Let's try to describe the situation. So I'll try it from Taylor Swift's perspective. Ego sum puella, ego est in Italia, ego est in Roma, ego est in Dairy Queen, qua est in Roma, qua est in Italia. Est magister vult gelatum, magister mihi dicit, habesne gelatum, ego ego dico minime non habeo gelatum, habeo hamburgers. Ah, Ita. All right. Let's see if you can tell the story from, yeah, let's try Taylor Swift's perspective. You give you 1 minute and just go ahead and talk it out, and then we'll regroup and see what you can do. All right, 1 minute. You're Taylor Swift now. Go.
all of us.
Well, you're just talking to yourself. 1 minute. So mute yourself. All right, you can start coming back in here. What's really funny is on my Apple Watch, it automatically pulled up This Love by Taylor Swift. It must have heard me and decided I wanted to play Taylor Swift. I am not a Swiftie. So I was like, okay.
Hear it at my school all day. They're playing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure Yuna, is it still popular with you, Yuna? Are you a Swiftie?
I am not because I'm not in the trends, but Taylor Swift is in
Good.
the trends.
She's kind of working her way out though. I've seen the last like year or so, a lot of my students they're kind of letting her go. So you're now
But
in
her
the
20
trend.
something fans remain faithful.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a colleague who is a little bit older, and she's a Swiftie, so
What?
yes, I say it's a cult. It's a cult. All right.
Mhm.
Yuna, you are
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. Describe situation.
Okay, I go asked Taylor Swift, est in Dairy Queen, which quai in Roma, quai in Italia. Um, et magistrat. Also, I feel like I know also, but it's like tomb. Is it also tomb?
Tomb, okay. Let's see how you use it.
It's like
It's
also
quoque. It's quoque.
quoque. Oh,
Quoque.
quoque magistrat in Dairy Queen. Um, magistrat dicit gematum Walt. Ego habet hamburger habet. Um, Gematum non habet.
Ita optime, felicitates. Good. Yeah, doing it from Taylor Swift's perspective might seem scary because you feel like, what do I know about her? But you just talk, you just speak with what you know, and you can make something happen. So, tú es Taylor Swift. Tú es, sorry, I'm moving this around. Tú es Taylor Swift. Tú es in Dairy Queen. Quai est in Roma. Quai est in Italia. Es magister, es puedes magister quoque he in Dairy Queen, et magister tibi dicit abesne gelatum, et tu dicis minime non abeo gelatum, abeo hamburgers, et magister est tristis, quia non abet gelatum. Bene?
Bene.
Optime. All right, Allison, you are Taylor Swift. Go ahead and describe your situation as well.
Ego sum Taylor Swift. Ego sum in Roma and Dairy Queen in Roma. Ego abeo hamburger, ego non abeo gelatum. Puer en Roma ad Roma it. No, magister ad Roma it. Magister volt gelatum. Magister dicit me Taylor Swift. Habet gelatum. Minime magister. Oh, magister tristis.
Optime. Optime. Felicitates. Tu es Taylor Swift. Tu est in Dairy Queen, quae est in Roma, quae est in Italia. Et est magister ad Romam it. Et in Dairy Queen, magister tibi dicit habesne gelatum, et tu dicis minime non habeo gelatum, et magister est tristis, tristis, qui et non habet gelatum. Optime. Ita, got it all?
Vita.
All right. Optime. Good. All right. So you actually were able to juggle two storylines today. So that's pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're about time's about up. I don't want to keep you guys up too late, especially you, Una, because it's a school night, right?
Well, tomorrow I work from home, but yeah.
Nice. All right. All right. So let me go ahead and stop the share here. Do you have any questions or anything before I close things down?
Just review the two forms, please, for the verbs.
Okay. So we'll do that then real quick. So let's go back. Let me find my buttons here. So not that. You probably thinking of the Dico Dikis, this one,
Yeah.
right?
Just,
So ego Dico, two Dikis, right? Two S George, two Dikit, two Dikis, Beyonce. Bene. Ego sum Beyonce, tibi Dico, right? So ego Dico, two Dikis, right? That's probably one. Was the other one the Walt?
yeah, Wolt, two
Weiss.
V's.
That's, yeah. Let me find it real quick on a slide here. It's gonna be, there it is, right? So ego sum George, Wolo Coca-Cola. Tu es Beyonce. Tu non vis Coca-Cola. Tu vis Pepsi. Bene. So ego volo tu vis isea vult. Right?
OST mustis int.
Yep. Yep. Those are the personal endings, which are, I tell my students all the time, they've been the same for 2,000 years. So once you learn them, they're yours, you know? So, and it rolls over into Spanish. You could probably see a lot of similarities in Spanish. But
Yeah, but there's differences too.
Oh, yeah.
Like I didn't need a gesture for simian because I already know the word simian.
Right.
About before. So sometimes it's easier because I have words like that, but when it gets down to the grammar, it's not the same.
Right. Yeah, the cognates. You have some words that are coming from Latin, which kind of are very similar in Spanish, or they might change slightly.
And
Yep.
French.
Yeah. French too. 100%. All right. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording. So while